Hello everyone and welcome to Makeover Monday, week 11, Watch Me Viz. It's good to see everybody on here again, and thanks for coming along. So today we have Eva here helping with the helping with moderating the session, and yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it. First off, I want to remind you of a webinar I am running tomorrow. This is the second webinar I have run, or I'm going to run, on how to use containers in Tableau. So yeah, 1 second here. I just need to get, okay. And hopefully now you can also see video. Right, so tomorrow is 6 p.m., Mastering Containers in Tableau Part 2. And this time we're going to look at a performance monitoring dashboard. And actually what you see on the screen here isn't quite what we're going to see. So let me actually show you kind of the idea on what we're going to go for in the end. So it's going to require about 6 containers, I believe. So we're going to have, the title, filters down the side, 3 across, and then this kind of 1 by 2 at the bottom. So yeah, hopefully you'll find that useful, and please come along and let us know, or let me know what you think. Okay, so let's get started here. So the first thing we want to do, oops, sorry, wrong spot here. Let me see here, is we want to look at the original visualization. This comes to us from Information is Beautiful, and there is a larger part of this at the bottom, but I'm just going to focus on the top here. So we're looking at the world's biggest cash crops, and it looks like there's maybe 20 or something like that. I like how it's broken up into different sections. I kind of like those lines that go through each one as well, because it helps with counting, I think. Kind of like, you'll see for the left-hand side, for the most planted, you'll see at, every 500,000, you'll see one of those lines go down. But how do I know how they define which one is biggest? Is it by most planted, the highest yield, the most popular, or the most revenue? It's kind of hard to tell from this because, well, I'm guessing it's by most planted, but why is that the biggest cash crop? Why isn't revenue the biggest? So it'd be nice to be able to maybe have the top 20 in each of these categories, for example. And the data set that I provided is, I actually uploaded a second data set that's more of a summary level data to match the original visualization as close as I could. It's even more aggregated than this. So yeah, I think maybe the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to both data sets. Hi, Maggie. I don't know if anybody can see Maggie, but she just jumped in my lap. She got home from puppy daycare. So, oops. And sorry, Maggie's jumping all over me. Okay. So I'm actually going to start by connecting to, I'm going to connect to both the summary data and the detailed data. So let me grab that. And I like to maybe at least get a feel for, can I even create something similar to what the original visualization is like. And we can see here that we also have data for all years. In the original visualization, I don't know which year this is related to. So it says November 2014. So, we can guess, but we should be able to get pretty close with the numbers. So I'm going to start just by looking at this left-hand column of most harvested. Okay, so the elements I want to look at here is the area harvested. And the area I want to look at is, I'm just going to look at the world level right now. The item is the unit. And I'm going to make my years discrete. And let's pick, I'm going to pick like maybe 20. So the poster was created in 2014. So I'll just pick 2014 and see how close we get. And then let me go ahead and sort descending. And we see wheat is 219 million, which looks like it's pretty close there. That's good. And then if we switch this, so show the filter, if we switch this to production, we can see sugarcane is almost 2 billion. And sugarcane is almost 2 billion. So it looks like it's pretty close. Maybe so we're able to, let me go back again. Sorry, I know I'm flipping back and forth quite quickly. So it goes wheat, maize, rice paddy, soybean. Wheat, maize, rice paddy, soybean, beans, barley, beans, barley. Okay, so I think we're pretty close there. So that's good to know. The other data set is a more summary level. So again, if I look at the world level, and let's bring the year in again, and let's look at 2014. And let's see, the element is going to be, you see, oh no, we want to look at maybe area harvested. And the, let's see, that's the element area, the item, that's what I'm looking for. You see these are much more aggregated data. So cereals in total is 722 million, where in the original visualization, I don't see cereals listed here. So this is more detailed than the other. So, you know, kind of pick and choose which one you like. Okay, so somebody's already asking, would a Pareto chart be appropriate here? I mean, you could create one, sure. Yeah, so, if I can real quick show you how to do that Pareto if you want. So this is the data for the individual, let's see, we could even look at, I don't know, we could even look at area harvested over the whole time period, and you should still see wheat and paddy. So what you'd want to do then is actually flip the axis and make this a running total. Where's our running total? And then compute using item, edit the table calc, add a secondary calculation that is going to be my percent of total, and then by item. So that's good. I now need to copy item to the detail shelf, and I need to make sure that this is still sorted. Okay, so let's do descending by the field value. Okay, and then I want to change this to a count distinct, and then running total, using item, and then edit the table calc and add a secondary calculation for the percent of total. Okay, and entire view. And if I make that a line, you can now see the, so if we look at, maybe I put a reference line at 80%, so average line count distinct of item would be, that one needs to be 0.2. Oops, not the average. I want this to be a constant line at 0.2. And then we'd want to add a reference line here that is a constant at 0.8. So what we're looking here is so if it met rated 80-20, that would mean 80% of our area harvested comes from 20% of the crops. So what this is telling us is actually that almost 90% of the area harvested comes from 20% of the crops. So that's even worse. So yeah. Okay, so that's how you would do a quick Pareto on this. You could even, you know, if you wanted to, you could make the second one an area chart, and then make a dual axis and synchronize. And there you go. So now you have like a nice little line going across the top of your area chart. So, you know, you could lighten that if you want. Hopefully that answers your question, Kian. Okay. All right, so that is that. Right, so what else can we do here? So when I have a time series data, I like to look at the data over time, obviously. So I'm going to start with the year here, and maybe I want to look at, let's see, what is the, I think it's the element. So let's start again with the area harvested, and I'm going to show the filter. And I want to look at the element. No, not element. I get these mixed up. So unit, item. And what I want to do here is I'm going to sort these by the field value, descending. Okay, and then I'm going to just keep the top 20. So filter the top, maybe the top 20 based on the value, the sum of the value, But you have to make sure that I put this area harvested into context so that that gets filtered before my 20. So let me go back there. When I just did it as a top 20, notice how I actually only have 19 rows here. So oops. So if I look here, this is only 19 fields. It's not 20. If I add my area harvested to context, that's going to actually give me 20 because it's going to force Tableau to filter the area harvested before it calculates the top 20. Okay, so I'm going to make that continuous and then maybe just put value onto the rows. And I'm just going to create some little spark lines and kind of see what we get here. So edit axis. Okay, so now we have our little spark lines. We can see barley actually has gone down quite a bit. Soybeans have gone up, maize has gone up, etc. Yeah, so that looks pretty neat. So that's our top 20. Maybe shrink that up a bit. So yeah, I kind of like the look of that. Yeah, so it's interesting to see some going up and some going down. I could maybe stick some trend lines on here. I don't know if it's going to be particularly. Some of these will be pretty strong trends, but some of them will be quite poor. But you know, sometimes that can be useful. So for example, if I wanted to see just the trend lines, I could always just reduce the opacity of my lines, and there you go. Now you have just the trend lines, or I can make them, you know, maybe black and really light or something, and you can put the focus on your trend lines instead. I'll just go ahead and leave them there for now. I'll probably get rid of them later, but yeah, so that's that. I do like having this this top 20 here, because now what I can do is I can switch these between area harvested and, actually I'm going to get rid of the trend line. Let me just remove it. Show trend lines. And then I could switch to production, and notice how the sorting changes as well. So let me change this to a single value list. So area harvested, production, yield, different things. So you see mushrooms and truffles actually yield the most, or at least they did over this whole period of time. If I wanted to sort them by the most recent value, so what I could do, if I want to make this like flexible so that it would update based, let's say we get data for 2020, and we wanted to, you know, always have it update. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a calculated field that's the most recent year. And I'm just going to make this a level of detail expression that just returns the max year. So that's always going to be my most recent year, and I'm going to make that a dimension. So then I can say value for most recent year. And I can say if the year equals my most recent year, then I want the value, end. Okay, so now that I have that, I actually could sort my items. So let's see, actually I could change my, let's see here, I could edit my filter, and instead of it being by value, I could have it as the top 20 for the most recent year. And now I need to fix my sort as well. And I want to sort by the value for the most recent year. Okay, didn't change a whole lot, but that's something you could do. It looks like peppermint. That's interesting. Why did peppermint have such a large increase? That seems kind of a strange thing to have as an increase. Okay. So let me just make this a bit bigger. Right. So yeah, so that tells us what the top products were, and okay. One second, I'm going to switch my mic. I was testing a new mic, but I'll switch back over.
try default. Okay. Is that better then? All right. Hopefully that's better. Let me know if it's not, please. I think I fixed it. Okay. So, okay. I'll just wait here for a second until you tell me if it's come back or not. Oh wait, I think it still hasn't come back because I can't see the audio moving. Okay. Okay, great. All right, thank you. Right, so yeah, so instead of sparklines, you could maybe just look at them compared to each other. I wouldn't ever create anything with this many colors, but yeah, we can switch between production and yield and area harvested and things like that. So it looks like wheat actually has been pretty stable. So the difference here is if I switch to area harvested here, we see wheat goes to the top. And notice the trend there is kind of, it's much, the variance looks much larger than it does when you look at it as just a regular line chart with the y-axis starting at 0. And you can see for, let's see, what's this, rice paddies. You can see it looks like it's much steeper in growth than it actually is. But the point of a spark line is to just show the changes within just across the years for that individual product. So that's why you typically hide the header as well. So you're not trying to make the comparisons by the axis. You're just trying to look at the trends for each of the items. Okay, so I still don't like any of those. So I'm thinking I might just stick with the summary data set. Yeah, so the detailed. So the summary, okay. So what we could do maybe is, if we look at the summary data set, okay, again, I'm going to make this continuous. And I'm going to put the value on the rows and the area. So let's see, what could I do here? I'm going to look at, again, just the world. And let's see, is it domain? I keep forgetting which one, so it's not, that's not useful, so I'm going to hide that. And the element, that's what I'm looking for. So let's start by looking at area harvested. And we want to look at, what do we want to compare? Each of the items. Okay, something like that. But maybe what I want to know is I want to look at the change across time. So what I could do is I could add a table calculation here and maybe look at the percent difference from maybe the first period, so the difference to 1961. Now this is going to help show us kind of the growth rate across time as a percentage. So we can see that tree nuts, for example, have grown 639%, where if I go back, which one am I using here? This is area harvested. And if I look at, let me just put value on here again. And let me turn on my highlighter. And I think it was what, tree nuts. You can see actually they're not harvested that much, but as the percent increase is pretty dramatic. So that's the difference that a percent change would show you versus just the absolute change. Okay, we could also look at that as maybe a, let's edit the table calc, and let's look at relative to the, let's see, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Okay, I don't want to do relative to, there we go, relative to previous. So this would be our year-over-year change, which is basically just looks like a bunch of spaghetti. So I wouldn't really worry about that much. Okay, so, right. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to just go ahead and show these filters just so we can see them a bit better. I'm going to, what I think I want to look at, let me just clear this table calculation, is I want to be able to like click on a year, for example, and look at the percent change compared to that particular year. So I'm going to create a parameter, and I'm just going to call this my year parameter, and I'm going to make it an integer, And for now, I'm just going to default it to like 1980, whatever. Let's do 1973 since that's my birth year. Coming up on 50. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to value for year parameter. What I want to do is I want to say, if year equals year parameter, then we want the value. Otherwise, return a null. And if I put that in the view, you can see I just get a single dot here for each product, or yeah, for each item. I am getting the value for that particular year, but I don't see it across any other years. So what I want to do then is look at how does, for example, cereals in 1981 compared to cereals in 1973. So I'm going to need to make a couple of changes to address that. So first thing, I'm just going to edit my calculation, and I'm going to make this a window average. The window average of the sum of that value. And what you'll see is now I'm going, I need to bring that on here. Now you see how this line goes all the way across. So now that that line is there, I can compare 1987 to 1973 because that 1973 value is coming all the way across the visualization. So I'm going to create a new calculated field, and I'm going to call this percent change versus selected year. And this is going to be, it's going to be the sum of my value minus the value for the year of the parameter divided by the value for the year of the parameter. Okay, I'm going to take that off the view, and I'm going to now put this percent change on the view and edit my table calc and make sure it's computing for each item. That's good. So now you can say they all converge at 0 here. So what I can do is I can maybe set up a parameter action, and I'm going to call this update year parameter. And the field I want to update is, or parameter I want to update is year parameter with the field year. And now when I click on notice how everything changes according to that mark that I clicked on. So it might be a bit easier to see if I put item on color here. So again, I click on that, we can see that move. Again, we click on that, we can see it move. The problem now is that it's doing this highlighting, which makes it hard to see the other ones. So I'm going to create a little trick that allows us to kind of de-highlight things. So I'm going to call a calculated field. I'm just going to call it dummy. You can call it whatever you want. And stick that on detail. And now I can add a highlight action. And I'm going to say highlight dummy. And I'm going to just highlight the dummy field. So now when I click on one of these marks, notice all of the colors, nothing, that one line is not highlighted. It still kind of is. You can see like a white border around the purple line. So let me click on the brown. You can see a slight white border around the brown, but I'm not too fussed about that. But now that I have that set up, I can turn on my animations. And if I turn those on, and let's set it to maybe, I like doing 3/4 of a second. I don't know, it just feels like the right one to me. And if I click that, now you can see them all shift according to that particular mark, which I think looks pretty cool. Okay, so let's see. All right, so what would be interesting to see how changes in overall production are driven by changes in yield versus area and how that differs from crop. Okay, so what we could do is, so this is our, what do I want to call this? Change versus selected period. So if we wanted to look at, so Chris Gray is asking if we could look at the changes in yield versus area. So if I wanted to do something like that, let's see, so the element, I'm just going to put that here. So I'm going to create a calculated field called area harvested. And I'm going to say if element, or actually I could do it as the integer of element equals area harvested times the value. Okay, and then I could duplicate that, and this one will be yield. Okay, so if I wanted to look at, so now I don't need that in my rows anymore, so I could compare area harvested to yield, and I can maybe look at it by, so maybe if I look at it by year, I could see something like that. And maybe I turn this into a line and I put the year on the path shelf. So now I can see, let me edit both of my axes so that they do not include 0. I'm just trying to zoom in the axis. Okay, so now we get something like that. I'm going to label the min and the max year and turn those mark labels on. So now I can see where the start and the end of the line is. So it looks pretty neat. It looks like we got some weird kind of squiggles here in the middle. Okay, so Chris, let me know if that kind of answers your question. But this is now looking at all of the areas. So I need to put area onto maybe color, and we can compare the difference. So the world is going to kind of throw everything off. So let me exclude the world. And Oceania looks a bit strange. So Asia has seen really big growth. So these would be called a connected scatter plot. And this is looking at actually looking at all elements as well. So if we wanted to, or no, sorry, not elements. We wanted to look at items. Really having trouble with those. If I wanted to look at, for example, cereals. I could see what it looks like for cereals or citrus fruits. We can see that oil crops, vegetables, whatever. So I could maybe show the filter, and if I make this a single value list, I can click on cereals, and this is where the animations make it look kind of neat. Oh, that's interesting. Fiber crops. I'm not quite sure what fiber crops are. Okay, so you could flip through those as a series of connected scatter plots. So Chris, yeah, again, let me know if that's kind of what you meant by that. Yeah, so I actually kind of like that idea. So we might, I'm going to make a note of this. So connected scatter plot. Right. So I'm going to probably stick with one of these two, and I need to figure out what to do with these colors because I have like too many of them. So let me go back here to world, and I want to look at the element is, let's just look at area harvested and the item and the let's see, what do we call this one here? So I'm going to copy this calculation that we created in the other one. Let's see, so edit most recent. Oh, I need to copy my most recent year calculation as well. Would have been quicker to probably rewrite them. Right, so you can see cereals just really dominates everything. So let's see. You've got the oil crops. I'm going to start renaming some of these things too. So let's see. I'm going to rename this first of all to crop, and then I'm going to edit the aliases. So cereals. So I'm just going to call this cereals. Citrus fruit, fiber crops, fruit, oil crops, which again I don't know what they are, pulses, roots, and tubers, sugar, tree nuts, and vegetables. Okay, just trying to clean it up a bit, make it look a bit nicer. So citrus fruit is really low. Okay, I'm just wondering if citrus fruit is actually part of fruit. So I'm going to go back to the data source and just double check and see if we can determine if that fruit is part of. Let's see here. Okay, so if I go to items aggregated, okay. So no, I don't want to do that. I think if I do citrus fruit list, let me actually try fruit primary list. I'm just going to pick 2019, area harvested, and maybe just pick the world. And let me run. And what I want to see is, does it, so apples, apricots. So this is fruits. And it has fruits, tropical. Okay, so fruits looks like it has all of the citrus fruits as well. So I'm going to actually, then I'm going to edit my data source filters, and I'm going to, what is this called? Crop. In my citrus fruits, I'm going to exclude those from the data source. And now I also want to look at fiber crops. So let me deselect that and fiber crops, and then run again. I have no idea what fiber crops are. Okay. Never heard of most of these. Okay. Maybe I'll leave it in for now. I'm just trying to simplify my data set. I'm going to get rid of those as well. And then oil crops. So it's always good to kind of look at the data source, because this is like a really easy way to verify the data. Let's see. So okay, so these are oils from the foods. It looks like. What did I pick here again? Oil crops, castor oil, coconuts. But is coconut considered a fruit as well? So show that again, because I want to make sure I'm not like double counting coconut. Let's see, avocado. Let's see. Okay, so they do not have coconuts as a, okay, so we probably need to leave the fiber crops, or no, well, whatever. Okay. Right. So that just shrinks our list up a bit. And so now we should have a couple less colors here. It's still too many colors to my liking, but I can play around with that later. So what I want to be able to do now, I want to have value for, or no, I want to have a like little circle here where these connect as well. So I'm going to put a 0 in here. And then make that a, no, what I want to do is create calculated field. And I want to say if year equals year parameter, then 0. And put that there, because I just want to dot where that one is, and then set the mark type to a circle. And then on this one, set the mark type to a line. Okay, did that. And then dual axis and synchronize. Take that out of the tooltip, uncheck show header. And now on this, on the sum of 0, I can now maybe just make this like a black circle or something like that. So it makes it a bit more obvious where I clicked. That's all I'm trying to do there. Right, okay, so we have these different crops here, and I can go here and get rid of measure values. Okay. And if I label the ends of the lines, let me make that a line. Let's do show mark labels, min max for each line, the field year. And what I want to have on here is the label is going to be my change. Okay. And I need to set up my number format as a percentage. And I'm going to have it plus 0% and minus 0%. Okay, so now we can see our labels, and I'm going to set them to match the mark color. Okay, so now I need to decide kind of which one of these I like better. I think this connect to scatterplot looks pretty cool, but let me duplicate this, and instead of using area on the color, I could put maybe crop on color, and then we could show the filter for the area. Yeah, so that's not very useful, is it? So I don't want this to be an exclude, so include. So we look at just the world, make this a single value list. Okay, so definitely not as interesting when I'm looking at it the other way around. Okay, so let's delete that and pretend we never did it. Okay, so what else could we do here? All right, so on here we could put the value on detail, and I'm going to put the unit on detail. So now I could see, so the dummy field needs to be not included in the tooltip, 2019. Okay, right. So I'm going to say crop, and then I'm going to move the year up here. Unit. Okay. And then this is going to be percent change, change versus, and then I want to insert my parameter. Okay. And then instead of this saying value, I want it to say element, but element is not in my view. So I need to add element to detail. No, I want element on detail here, element on detail. Okay, so now in my tooltip, I could insert the element. I hover over, area harvested, percent change versus 19. Okay, I need to also format my parameter to be a number. No, right, there we go. So that should look better now. Area harvested. Okay, great. So element, aliases. Come on. It's really annoying. Yield, production, area harvested. Okay, so I think I'm okay with that so far. Okay, and then so I think I'm just going to stick with this one. Now I need to think about my colors. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 8 colors. That's a lot. Let me see if I can look at some of my color palette generators. So I think couleurs will only let me do 5 colors.
You can add more.
Okay. But my computer's going slow. Okay. So Kevin thinks Table Calc Tuesday should be a thing. Well, I do a lot of stuff with table calcs. Fiber crops make clothes. I saw cotton included. Okay. Oh. Okay. Sorry, my browser goes slow when I'm doing these recordings. Come on. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to just hit the space bar. Okay, here's a random color palette. Let me see. Let me pick one I like. I'm just going to keep hitting it for a while here. Oh, wow. See, some of the colors are a bit too close for some of these. And this is couleurs.co for anybody that is interested. Okay, this might work. So let me try some of these colors. So I'm going to make cereals. It's going to be, oh, wait, I'm not even going to be able to see that one. Oh, 4E's FF. Okay, it's probably still going to be too light, but we can come back and fix that later. So let's copy that. Oops. Let's copy. Okay. And then this one, copy. Of course, in Tableau, the formatting always takes the longest. Oh, I lost my mouse. Come on. Pulses. Laurel green. Okay. Wow, that's really bright. But this will at least give me kind of a starting place. And then vegetables. Okay, so if I hit apply, I think, yeah, so I need to do something different for cereals because I can't really see cereals. So maybe if I pick, oh, let's see, I've got a maybe purple color palette. Let me make this one maybe like that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, probably still too many colors I'm comfortable with, but I can't really be bothered to play around with them much more. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I want to give my user the ability to kind of pick what they want. So I can either do it through a series of filters, or I could do it through parameter actions. And I think it'd be more fun to show you how to do parameter actions. So, okay, so let's go. And by the way, Dennis, I didn't know it either. Eva just showed me. So, so what I'm thinking is, if I have something like, let me just, let me see if I can draw something here. So let me do a new, I think this is, so how do I do a new load? Okay, I'm not quite sure how I do a new one here, and I don't want to break it. Okay, let me just draw it over here. So let's just pretend we have this, this chart. Let me just paste it here. Where'd it go? Oh boy. Okay, so I just want to put this here. This is going to be my chart. I'm going to have my title across the top, something like that. And what I'm thinking is we could maybe have a series of buttons kind of through here. Let me just paste this again, and maybe I can kind of show you what I'm thinking without drawing it. So we would have a series of buttons like world, and then Asia, Americas, etc. Something like that is like a series of buttons going left to right. And then maybe down the side, we have like yield, harvest, and production. So let me try that. It probably is a bit overkill, but I don't know. What the heck? Let's give it a go. All right. So to do that, I'm going to need to put, let's see, area onto the columns. And I'm going to edit my aliases here. So Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, Oceania, and world. Okay, and I'm going to just swap the sort around here. So world is first. I'm going to put area on text, and then hide the header, and turn off my tooltips. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of building a series of buttons. And I want the text on these to be maybe like, I don't know, maybe 18 point. We can go bigger later. That's fine. And let's see. Okay, something like that. And then if I format this sheet, the borders, I could put maybe cell borders around the whole thing, something like that. And then the text I'm going to align center and center. Okay, so now this will tell me, I'll just write this as which area. All right, and then I can do the same thing, but this time I'm going to use my, is it element? Element, yeah. So, oops. So actually what I could do is I think I can highlight these and choose swap. Oh, it doesn't give me that option, bummer. So elements here and elements here. Okay, and again, I can hide the headers. So what I was thinking was maybe this one goes down the side, and then we could rotate the text, something like that. And now I need to get rid of my shading. You see the second one is shaded, so I want to reduce that. Okay, so we're going to have, so this is which element. So now if I throw this all on a dashboard, let me just, that doesn't really need to be very big, I don't think. Maybe 800 by 600. I'm going to bring in a, so if I go back here, let me undo. I'm going to have these other words down this side. So let's see, is there a way for me, this is a new tool for me, so I don't know if there's, oops, don't want to do that. Let's just pretend that this goes down kind of the side. Whatever. Okay, this is turning into a disaster. Let me just draw a box here. Okay, so this is going to be our box down the side. So to do this with, let me just select all this and move it over. Okay, I'm just trying to give myself some room here. All right, so to put this in a dashboard, I'm going to first want a container around the outside of the whole thing. So let me change the color to be maybe blue. And then I'm going to need a container for these two things here. So this is going to, let's maybe make that one red. Okay, so this blue container will be a, what's that called? The one that goes top to bottom, and then this one will be one that goes left to right. So I think that's all the containers I need. So I'm going to start with my outside container, and I'm going to set it to 0 and 0, 800 by 600, and I'm going to set the inner padding to about, I don't know, 20. All right, I'm going to throw a text in there. So this would be my dashboard title. I'm not worried about the spelling right now. Let's maybe make that like 18 point. Okay, and I'm going to put a blank in here. Let me make this a bit bigger. And then my blank, I'm going to edit the height to 10 and set the background to black. And then let's see, set those all to 0. Okay, that makes it go out to the edge, which I like. Okay, so that's the first part. That's kind of these two sections. And then I want to put my sheet in there. Where's my sheet? My which area sheet is going to go there. Hide the title, fit entire view. And I'm going to fix that in a minute. And then I want to put a horizontal container down here. And this is going to hold my which element. And it's also going to hold my chart. Okay. And notice all these things came in the background here, the filters and everything. So I need to go to my layout tab and then kill this tiled container. Okay, so let me select this sheet, and I want to make that one a bit taller. See here. So edit height. Let's make that like maybe 60. Okay, and I need to make the font a bit smaller because we can see America's doesn't fit. So I'm going to go back to this sheet and change the size of the text to maybe 14. Let's see what that does. Okay, that looks better. And then I'm going to hide the title here and make this one fit entire view. And what width did I say I set this one to? This was 60, so I'm going to set this one to be the same. So edit width is 60. Okay, and then this needs to also be 14 point. Let's see if that fits. Okay, still not quite enough room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the title. And I'm going to make the dashboard a bit taller because I want these. I could always make this text smaller, but I wonder what it looks like if I go, oops, that's width. If I go one taller, okay, that might be okay. And then I need one more text box at the very bottom. This is going to be my data source is FAO stat. Then create, oops. Okay, and then I know this axis I'm going to want to, oops, get rid of the year. And let's see, format. I want this to be 8 and a bit lighter. And I want this one to be, oh no, that's my axis. So I want this to be 8 and a bit lighter. And make this one axis 8, 8, and lighter. I'm just trying to make them a bit less, let's get rid of my grid lines. And I want to get rid of my row dividers and get rid of my column divider. And then I'm going to set my 0 line maybe to something like that. Okay, maybe not quite so pronounced. Okay, maybe something like that. Right, so this isn't too bad. I'm going to maybe make it a bit wider. Okay, and I think I could have sworn I changed the height and the width of this, so width 60. I need to make this one maybe a bit bigger. Feels like it needs a bit more room. Okay, so now what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to, and let me move this down one. Okay, I want to be able to, well, first off, I need to reset my actions for when I click on one of these. So dashboard actions. Actually, I could just do it from the sheet instead. Worksheet actions. So I can change this to be a dashboard action. And that's just going to be that change versus select period. And then same thing here. Let's make this a dashboard action. And okay. It just saves me a bit of time going through and selecting them. Okay, but my highlight is not working. So dashboard actions, highlight, target sheets, highlight dummy. Let's see. Let's see if that does it. Okay, there we go. Okay, something like that. So let's see, and I think that circle is a bit too big, so let me shrink that down a tad. Okay, if I go like that, okay, that's a bit better. All right, so now what I want to be able to do, it looks like I need a little, this needs to move over a bit. See, I don't like how this world doesn't line up with the chart, so I need to bring a horizontal container in here, move that into that container, and put a blank next to it. Okay, and then the width of this is going to be 75. And then this needs to unpin. Okay, and then the height of the container, 75. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's just a way to get them lined up nice and neat. So what I could do now is I need to set up an action that's going to plug into it the element they pick as well as the area they pick. So I need to create a couple of parameters. So which area? So create a parameter. So this is going to be my area parameter. And this is going to be a string, and I'm going to start by calling it world. Right, so I think I've messed up something here. I think this is going to break, so let me, aliases, I need to clear my aliases on both of these. So element, aliases, clear. Okay. And then I need another one that is my element parameter, and this is going to be a string, and we can set it first to area harvested. Actually, let's see, what did I do here earlier? So I could, if I want to leave them at uppercase, I could duplicate this let's field and edit that, and let's just call this area upper. And I could just wrap this in the upper function, because this is really just for display. And put that onto my text. And then aliases, I can clear my aliases. And then over here, so let's call this L. And this is going to be upper element. And put that onto the text. And then I can aliases clear. Okay, there we go. All right, so in this sheet then, let's see, where's my sheet here? This one. I need to now create another parameter that is my element parameter. This is a string, and I'm going to call this area harvested. Okay, so I can see I now have world and element here. So I'm going to create a couple of calculated fields. So area filter, say area equals area parameter. Okay, put that in here and say true. And then I'm going to create another one that is my element filter, element equals element parameter. Okay, put that here and pick true. Okay, so now what should happen in theory is I should be able to click on one of these and then it can update the view. So let's try dashboard actions, and I want to add a change parameter action. This would be called update area parameter. Area parameter with the field area. And then I'm going to add another one. This would be my update element parameter with the element parameter with the field element. Okay, so if I click on Europe, everything should change. Click on production, it should change. Yield, it should change. Oh, the transitions look really, really weird. Okay, so I'm pretty close now. I'm going to, let me just reduce the size of my text here. Oh, that didn't do it. Let me change this to be, let's maybe make it 12 instead. I think it's just a bit too big. 12. Okay. All right, so we're getting somewhere. There's really a lot of elements in here. That's okay. So Asia, world. And now what would be nice is if I could color code one of these. So let me try, if I put area filter on color, you'll see, okay, this should work. So I want my true. Let's see, I want my, oh God, this is annoying. Let's make my trues maybe black, my false is gray. So that way I know which one I clicked on. Element filter on color. Where was that color palette I just picked? White to black. Okay, and I'm going to put dummy on there. And I'm going to put dummy on here. Okay. So now if I click on Americas, and you click off, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to automatically deselect the one, like I want to be able to click on this and it just highlights it without like having this blue section on here too. So I'm going to try to do that with the dashboard action. So I'm going to try it with a filter action. This might not work, but so kind of filter dummy. And let's see, let's call this area dummy. Went to the area sheet on select, and I'm going to add a filter that goes from dummy to, oh, I don't know, crop, as long as it's always invalid. Okay, so I click on Europe, click on Americas. Okay, that works perfect. So dashboard actions. Where is he here? Filter action. So this would be filter element dummy. Basically, I'm tricking Tableau into doing a filter. It's not really doing one though. So area harvested, then that becomes like that. Asia. It's interesting how the transitions work better on this one. Okay, so let me edit the width. Let's make 700, or no, so let's edit the height. Let's make it 60. And then this one, edit width. I know it says 75, but these, I swear that these look like they're about the same size, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so let's see. So let's call this insert. Okay, so how do I want to do this here? Because what I wanted to do is I want this to be a dynamic dashboard title. So I think what I'm going to have to do is create a new sheet, and I want area upper on detail, true, and I want element filter, true, and element upper on detail. So I think I can now say something like, let's see, area element change versus, and then my year in my region. in my area. So let's see what that looks like. Area harvested change. Okay, area upper. Oh wait, what did I do here? Why is it not returning this as uppercase? Oh, because I put the wrong field in here. So there should be element upper. Okay. What's that look like then? Area harvested in Europe. Let's see. Okay, so I need a bit of a better title here. So this is, what can we call this here? The original says, okay. I could say cash crops in Europe. What's it look like? Area harvested versus 2005. Okay, so now I'm going to make this just a smaller font. Make this a bigger font. Apply. Okay. So let me see if I can now put this on the text. Area harvest versus year parameter. Why does that not work? Oh, okay, that's fine. Year parameter on detail. Okay. Okay. So this needs to also be on text. Okay, apply. Fit entire view. I just want to see what this looks like. Okay, so now I can reset my title. Cash crops in Europe. All right, so this is going to be my title. And I'm going to stick my title sheet up here. That's fine. I'm going to, so what height did I set this at? 51, so let's get rid of that. And I want to hide the title. Edit height. Let's maybe make it like 90. Okay, fit entire view. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. Let's make this maybe Tableau medium and 22. All right, and then I need to also do the little dummy thing on here because if they click on this sheet, I don't want it to do anything. So, because see, if I click on it now, it highlights it blue, so I want to make sure they can't do that. So I'm going to add one more filter action. So this would be my filter dummy title. It's going to be just my title sheet. My target sheet is my title. On select, go from dummy to crop. So now when they click on it, it just doesn't do anything. It blinks because we have the, that's kind of funny. It blinks because we have the animations turned on, but nah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so I think, yeah, I think one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a reference line here for the, let's see, my parameter, my year parameter. The year, no tooltip. I want it to be a dashed line, so you should see it kind of coming together here. And let's make it black. I guess I don't need the label. Actually, I'm going to put the label at the top, but I can format that in a second. Okay, and then format the line. And my reference line label is going to be, alignment is left and then top. And then let's make it maybe Tableau medium, like that. Okay, so now when they click on a mark, you'll see it just switches to that year and so on. Okay, so I think that's it. How does my area harvested? Okay. Right. Any questions? I think I'm done here. Need a color picker that is text box and parser. You type in more blue or less green. Management will feel like, oh. Let's see. Okay. All right, I think that's it. The only issue now is when I click on something here, it's highlighting that. So I need to check my actions again. So this is probably my highlight dummy needs to only, yeah, it doesn't need to impact the title. Okay, so now when I click there, it just moves it. Okay, cash crops in, let's say, the Americas, area harvested versus 2000, production versus 2000. But now I need a legend. Crap. Oh, this is terrible. Let me see here. So I need to go back to my sheet, and I want my labels to be on the right center, which means I'm probably, so my label's like that, but is it going to work no matter where I click? Okay, that looks fine. They're overlapping, but you know, let me see if I could uncheck allow overlap. Okay, and it's gonna not show some of them, but it'll look a bit better if they're not all kind of running on top of each other, I think. So now I need to somehow include a legend on here. Great. Let me see my colored legend. And of course that's now hidden in the background. So I need to go here all the way down through these million levels, and I'm going to float that. And then what I'm going to do is get rid of this tiled. And maybe I could just leave it here because I don't think we're going to have anything that runs up into those lines. Okay, so let me format the legend. I'm going to set the font to be 8 point. Call this crop type. Okay, now can I make it like 2 rows maybe? I hate these layouts. Oh god, they're so terrible. See, now I need to make these so big just to be able to see it. So I think this is, I'm probably better off. Let's see, which one? There was one that had a really big change. Let's see if it's this one. Yeah, see, now the lines are running up there. So if I put it up here, maybe. And then I need to format that, put the background as white, and then maybe set the border to like maybe light gray dashed line or something like that, and set the inner padding to about 10. And of course it doesn't fit now. Great. Let me make it a arrange item single row, or no, single column. But now I think it's going to overwrite that line, which is not good. I don't want that. Okay. Maybe what I could do is I'm going to maybe move it here and make it a single, come on, single row. And then what I'll do is I'm going to, instead of adding another container in here, I'm going to just go to my outer padding and set the left to, was it 75? I think is what we had. Yeah, so now it'll line up nice and neat, but I don't have enough room. Wow, This is really, really annoying. Put it in the title. What do you mean? Up here? Oh, right. Okay. So let me float this again. Okay. Thank you, Eva. Oh, okay. So range items, multiple columns. Okay. I mean, it's still not great, but it's going to have to do. Anybody want to bet that that doesn't work when it goes up to Tableau Public? So maybe roots and tubular, I could edit the alias and just call it roots. So I guess that's, and this actually is nice because now it also works as a highlighter. Oh, okay. Crop type. Click to highlight. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that idea, whoever had that. And okay, so this needs to move over 1 pixel, I think, so it lines up with. Needs to move over 1 more pixel. 423. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now it lines up nice and neat with my options here. So Americas, or let's see, let's do Americas, and let's compare to 1983. Okay, 1990, maybe something like that, or the year 2000. I'm just trying to find one that would be a good default for us to use. Okay, something like that. All right, I think I'll just keep playing around. Before I publish this, I'm just going to keep playing around to find one that kind of like looks good. That's, you know, where the everything's spread out nice and neat. Yeah, there we go. So this one's not too bad. So cash crops in America, production versus 1985. Maybe I should say percent change production. So title, text, percent change in, yeah, and now I can edit my axis and I can get rid of the title on my axis. Okay, very good. All right, well, that went a bit long, sorry. It was an hour and 20 minutes, but hopefully you learned a bit about parameter actions, you know, calculations, LODs, table calcs, a bit of everything in this one, highlighting, deselecting things, labels, whatever, picking colors too. So yeah, everybody, thanks for joining. Thank you, Eva, for moderating. And just as a reminder, I do have that container session tomorrow night. You got kind of, I guess, a bit of a sneak preview in this session because of all the containers I had to use to get things to line up nice and neat. But yeah, we're going to be creating, let me see, I think I actually have the final a copy of the final visualization that I could show you. I think this is it here. So you're getting a sneak peek at what we're actually going to build. There we go. So this is kind of the final visualization that we're going to create. So it's going to have this nice little filter section down the right-hand side and this nice little layout. So I hope to see you at 6 p.m. tomorrow. If you like the content you saw today, please recommend it to some other people, and hopefully they can enjoy the content as well. Be sure to click subscribe so you get the latest updates. There'll be another tip coming out tomorrow like there is every Tuesday. And if there's anything you'd like to see or anything, just leave some comments and I will respond. All right. Have a good day, everybody.